Officer, what happened? You're limping.
You're not limping. You're you.
Is this from the shooting in town? We heard gunshots. Not that we don't hear gunshots.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Guilaine. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
So you're a killer? That's good, I guess. Better than being dead. Hi. I guess you are. I understand that's how it goes. Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead. If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two.
Aye.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she...
I'm sad to hear that. Take care of that with ether, will you? Don't get too many... Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti...
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the...
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete under...
Aye, aye, Captain.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small...
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other...
And that iron... That's, nothing. It's just a seafort and some plants. And we make a fire. Mm-hmm. Gather the sticks.
Bullet shells. There are a lot of them left over from the war, but this could be important.
I don't know what those are. They're alive. The fire guy.
Your nerve endings sting. They must mean a human being on that island, but it's cut off.
No. Yes.
Let's go with yes.
Because he asks to put the fire out. I don't know. He doesn't like it. Yes.
Because he doesn't want to be found. Smoke traces.
I don't know.
Did you mean there are electrical?
Yes. No, he doesn't live there. No, he lives there. Been there twice. He doesn't live there. He isn't there.
Anything else?
I don't know. We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there. Our father killed Dinty that he didn't. I don't know. Doesn't even have anything to do with this, you.
The two things are unconnected. Your question didn't make sense.
There's
Lights, fire guy. We should check up on that island.
A skiff with a small... The boat's belly is a shiny yellow color. Industrial paint over fresh tar. Use SRV made. This machine represents humanitarian aid from a worker's. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off. Have you made all the necessary preparation? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this. The skiff, once you get it, have you made... Remember what the net picker said.
What? Fine. Let's blast
Sad FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs.
It'll float.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Eternally. Disco and
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. In the silence, a sputter of wings.
Let's go.
chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 on the islet. There is almost no wind, just like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the faraway roar of the city. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. A jitter, a sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world.
Yes? It is. Is that why we are stopping?
The lieutenant nods inside. I see him. This feels familiar somehow.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the communal zone.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the IC. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through you. It's going to be hard to say them. Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
There were all sorts of groups and groupuscules back then. It doesn't really matter. No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, gas.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator. A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and
I don't know. I'm not.
that is his idea of a joke. A small agony. Minuscule bones may have fractured, but he nods approvingly.
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh. Recent.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest late.
You don't have to be a hero. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife, among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories. You find a magazine cathodique for electrical.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective. Not that you can tell. Soft covers, serialized. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory. That is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not.
Your incendiary remark has failed to Wasn't there some in the communist students' room?
Well, yes. The Dwarf student.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here.
Interesting. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel. The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been...
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control...
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator... We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something.
The boat engine. The console looks on as you talk, mute and unpowered. Nothing happens. The dial slides under the glass, silently.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military...
It's an air-gapped system, an off-air military model. Its circuits are nearly... A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off. Perhaps there's someone there. Where it is all smelling of tooth baby, you know it's going to hurt. Yes, cold and still. Oh fuck, yes. No, we're not starting with that. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall islets and posts, like stepping... There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double...
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand and an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand? Contemporary Revacholians prefer Drouin, a local blend from the southern islands, or Astra, the legendary cigarette from Grad. Diamatiri is favored by older men for its paper filter tips, sweet smell.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a...
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you. like a quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments, Rue de Saint-Ghislain. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in the box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress,
Cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
It's only moderately effective cop work until we have the weapon. It will not be, how do you say, where?
He does not answer.
We should move now.
This old cylindrical generator. The lieutenant, there's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old...
That should be it.
A dim golden glow animates the console.
It's on. Turn emergent.
Automatic boot. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle. The dial slides under the dusty glass, dark and silent, despite the...
Insular. This is an off-air...
It's an air-gapped system. The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
After you. Don't worry. I have a gun. I don't know. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle, then spits it out into the extinct, unclouded by cataracts. His eyesight is sharp.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't my eyesight? Yes, I did. And I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the wall.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. It's a Triangon 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too.
A Samaran rifle. How did...
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now. Like
He's right. Almost no one remembers there was a third metastasis of the world revolution.
they wouldn't like hearing their name in you.
The time will come to win his trust, comrade. It is not now. You need to take care of the gun first. The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
No. Put it down.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb, he stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound.
The future teaches you
The present.
the present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real Roulette Cult. That's Larry.
Marching song.
There you go. One of three. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And how did it go? Something about shooting rabbit.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen on the butt. You see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangle, 4 point.
No one said it has to be a Burma grave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a triangle.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. The right type and the right calibre.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right, some kind of involuntary response. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession in time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross. Political commissar, the one. I am a deserter, partisan, and a prisoner of war.
There, behind them, across the delta,
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your hold up.
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution, I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands too. I was an resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to.
What have you been doing during
Hiding, fishing, always waiting for her to
her who?
girl child, revolution. Always. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The historic opportunity for our revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics a second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men. You haven't seen it.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition, the combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into I ran. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers underground, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain, they'd all drowned in the lower levels or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous, that the bourgeois are not human.
Now is not the time, Lieutenant Yefreto.
I had to. I had to fight it. I could not stop anymore. It's not an island. What? It's a defensive fortification of the congenitally deformed King Philip II. Built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured coalition military, called it Operation Deathblow. Deathblow? You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. You don't know. You haven't seen it, the black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive?
Now hold on there.
Supplies, vegetables, collect rainwater.
How is your health, Mr.
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean
The RCM can provide medical service.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult mentally to live in.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on. More and more. It's disgusting. How does it
Now hold on there.
supply?
How is your
I've been.
He does see.
the RCM?
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. I have been running out of that stuff.
He looks at you.
It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. There was such
There were posters.
weak communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Colts, and others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot,
In the city, you move underground?
from bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I do. They're good. Plenty of talk. I like that boy on the pack, too. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there.
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounge.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better.
The old man looks across the water.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International. The enemies of humanity who took it. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my...
A spray of blood from his mouth. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't...
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follow...
Scientific communism. A commissaire.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology. He nods slowly, then another tremor.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for for killing.
Killing people.
It's a gun. That's what they're for. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war.
So he's continued killing after. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your... This is what you live for. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No even. No. Be careful now. Slow. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
I don't want to tell.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the Commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. The gun. The scent of blood in the air. But what? Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies.
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete. Specific. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long.
I'm ready to die.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fasces. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Not a lot of guns around that use military grade.
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons?
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from the air. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? .46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this.
Murder.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausio's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. Nowhere else. Nowhere in... Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Cliff. You got it. Remember? The boot.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No. It's all... They blossom on the islands before we fertilize them with our blood. The coast, too. Before they piled their containers on top of...
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier. With the victim.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand?
Show me the souls, please, Miss.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is Sensorique. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned souls you saw in
The size fits, but not the soul.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your mother?
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways. The prints were his. You can see it. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You out. Got your attention.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One para...
The lieutenant raises, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death. Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybell. And so...
Mr. Dross, are you aware
Yes.
and you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope?
The old man.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going. You can coax it out of him.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't...
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of...
A rifle scope.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Yes. Think of it as a form of...
He will not stop now. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
them fucking. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like and I wanted to see his head explode. That too. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for...
This man has seen past her, like you do, and now he longs to punish her.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. Her passport and tickets to be...
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away.
After she was gone.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the...
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need to...
This implies that he's also a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
Why would I need that trash?
A strange confusion comes over him from time to time. Some kind of aberration.
It didn't say Clausia in there. It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachal's the cloaca of capital.
You could tell she was a spook?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glass.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
It quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into
Did you make that hole?
with a clip point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and... Yes, that, too. The things they did in that little room. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me.
Those two took the... You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing up.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her. You're delusional. There's nothing to see in the soul of the bourgeois woman. It's the same as the surface. No one gives a shit what you think. You and your cronies killed 10 working class. There's nothing.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water.
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on it. Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian. No. I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of the day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore. Maybe, I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.